Welcome to the Pylon to Pylon podcast, where we love football and hate your opinion. Joined always by your host, Skyler Burkhart, and my co-host tonight, Austin Verzoko, back again.
What's up, what's up?
Also, breaking news. Sorry for Donnie and Richie not being here. They had to take priorities for work and family. But Austin is actually going to join us full-time now as the fourth member as the Pylon to Pylon podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. It's going to be nice having Austin. He brings us a Green Bay perspective onto the podcast. Also very good on marketing and networking. So it'll be really nice to have him onto the podcast. We appreciate having you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the team and get everything going officially full-time.
Officially full-time. Speaking of full-time, we're going to be jumping right into the full-time of the NFL schedule of Week 14. Going to do the recap of that. We got a couple other things, some firings, injury reports, fantasy football as always. And we also just like to have a lot of fun with it. And it's just going to be you and me, Austin. So let's go with it.
Yep, I hate the Rams. Let's go.
All right, I see how it is. All right, we're going to be at that. All right.
I'm just kidding. They're a good football team.
Unlike a good football team, Jaguars look like a bunch of dog crap. Let's be honest.
I can't believe
here.
they let Derrick Henry run 240 yards on them and 4 touchdowns, including a 99-yard scamper.
Think about anyone that watched that played against him in fantasy. Like, who would have started Derrick Henry? First off, I saw the people that did on fantasy, like on Twitter and stuff. I was like, who would have started him? What kind of league you were in that you thought, maybe it would be a good idea to start him?
Deep league.
Even in 12 minutes, a stretch. But Jaguars lost 30-9, and that was a crap game.
Henry finally looked like that third to fifth round pick that he was supposed to be.
I think it's time to get an offense coordinator there. I mean, they should already be running him down the throat of every defense.
You just need to put him in I formation and run him like a Alabama running back.
Next up, we have Giants versus Redskins. Giants put on the whipping 40-16. I think Redskins pretty much done at this point.
Yeah, that wasn't really. It was a surprise to see how much the Giants put up on, but it was not a surprise to see the Giants win in a landslide.
All their points came when the new quarterback was it Josh Johnson, I believe?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Josh Johnson. He hadn't thrown an NFL pass since 2014.
And he came in and scored all the 16 points for them. So maybe it's a bright spot for the Redskins. Maybe they're not dead out of the water, depending how his play is going forward, because they're still ahead of the Giants, and they could still sneak in with the Cowboys, but it's going to be very, very low chance.
With their past 2 or 3 weeks where they've lost, it's
hard.
They need help to get in, and I don't see it. Josh Johnson did good in relieving Mark Sanchez, but once teams go back and look at his film, he'll be back to he was the first pick in some side league.
The AFL.
Something like that, yeah.
But something to look forward to next week. Saints versus Buccaneers. This is pretty much a snooze fest for most of it. Saints picked up late, 28-14. Buccaneers lose. Saints clinch their division with 11-2 since the Panthers lost as well, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, we're playing football today in the fourth quarter for the Saints because they've looked horrible.
No, and again, we are seeing a lack of Kamara on the field. It is completely awful. For a lot of fantasy owners that need him in the playoffs and also regular season. I mean, why aren't you using your best weapon? That seems why they're struggling.
You sound like one of those fantasy owners.
I am one of those fantasy owners, Austin, because I am officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, who eliminated you?
A lot of things. The person I lost to, and then you beat me because you won your matchup. So
who eliminated you is what I'm asking.
You did.
You
were one of the two.
Let them know.
Dolphins at Patriots. This was a game to watch. I wish I watched the whole thing. I caught the ending, and that was all I needed to watch, though. That was incredible.
What if I told you Tom Brady's career record in December in Miami is now 1-6?
I would cry if I was Tom Brady. I
never would have thought that he would be that poor in Miami in December.
Maybe it's just the Miami weather. It just gets to him. He's used to being in Foxborough.
I have no idea, man, but that hook and ladder backyard football play was something else. Gronk, I hope they never put him in on defense again.
No, that was... Did you see they did a Tecmo Bowl where they copied it for the Tecmo Bowl, and they did it back in the day, and they had the Dolphins Patriots, and they put in Gronk to tackle at the end and then threw it. It was completely hilarious. Ian Rappaport posted it. It was great just to see the little remake of that. But Dolphins pulled up the upset off, like you said, a little hook and ladder, and Kenyon Drake just juked out a couple people, took down the right sideline. Gronk missed the tackle, and that's it. Game's over.
Dude, if the Dolphins win out and the Patriots lose out, the Dolphins can win the division.
That's insane. The last time we saw the Dolphins do that, what was it, like 2005, I think, when the Wildcat was coming out. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
They didn't win the division, though.
They did. I think they went above 500, like 9-6. Probably right. We're 7. Yeah, 9-7.
I don't know.
If the Dolphins win, it was Tannehill. I think having Tannehill back established their offense back. That'd be the only reason I could really think of them getting back there.
I don't know. The offense looks still fine with Brock Osweiler.
It looks better with Tannehill. Not much.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot better with Tannehill. Tannehill understands that system. Brock does not fully understand it like Tannehill.
I don't think Brock understands any system.
He looked like an NFL quarterback, so
next up,
getting better.
This game came down in overtime. Ravens versus Chiefs. We almost saw the upset with Lamar Jackson, but on the last 2 plays of the game, he got hurt, and RG3 came in. The rest is history. Chiefs went the win.
Dude, RG3 threw a dime on that 4th down pass. That should have been a first down. That receiver dropped it.
Yep.
But the Ravens are showing they are a true contender in the AFC should they get into the playoffs.
And they still can't. Almost everyone in that division has a chance to get there, except for the Bengals, just because their injuries have surpassed what their talent is.
Considering they started off 4-0, too.
They looked like a Super Bowl team the way they were playing for a while there, but everything comes to an end at some point. Mm-hmm. But Chiefs looking like a better team, I guess, this week. They played against a really good Ravens defense and showed up. Mahomes threw a couple picks, but, I mean...
What's new?
Yeah, nothing more you can do. I mean, he's going to force the ball and make turnovers. I think he's at 11 turnovers, I want to say.
11 picks, maybe.
Yeah, 11 picks. Turnovers, fumble-wise.
He has a ton of fumbles, too. But, he's young. He doesn't know how to take care of the football. He's only sat 1 year. I mean, but you can't deny his arm talent is there. And the Chiefs... offensively put up 27 points on a very, very, very good Ravens defense. So, I mean...
that's something to chalk up as a good win.
Yeah, they had a great... Both teams played good football Sunday.
Another snooze fest. I watched this game, and I didn't like it one bit. It was the Colts at Texans. Andrew Luck, of course, still looking like a good quarterback after last week. We looked like terrible.
Uh-huh.
And the Texans just sputtered on offense again. Just sputtered for another game. Just kind of chugged along, and they lost it at the end of the game because Andrew Luck just took over. Colts don't have a running game. Texans struggle with the run in this one. What more can you say? It's both really just a passing team going against each other with a decent defense.
Houston's D is a lot better than Indy's D, though.
They didn't get a lot to Andrew Luck this game, which was
because Andrew Luck's offensive line is finally solid.
Very solid.
Quentin Nelson. That'd be why.
That guy's he could be all pro this year, easy. He's played outstanding.
Possibly.
Next up, we have Falcons versus Packers. I know you were excited for this one. I'm thinking last week we said Falcons would beat the Packers, and you didn't want to hear any of it, but Packers ended up winning 34-20. What do you think of this game?
Well, the Packers scored all 34 of their points by midway through the third quarter, and that's when they basically put the brakes on it. They started to run down the clock and be conservative, whereas Mike McCarthy would have been like, oh, we're up 14. Run that ball. Don't give up that lead. I feel like the team came out with a lot more of energy. Offense looked a lot more dynamic. I actually saw a crossing route as a Packers fan for the first time in like 5 seasons. So
they don't cross at all.
No. The Packers were one of those teams that basically got the 1-yard pick play flag for offensive receivers. They were the ones that got that basically started up because teams were complaining about it. They finally started doing that again, too. So, I mean, the defense got a pick 6 and a turnover in the red zone. The Falcons looked like absolute booty. They were horrible.
They lost 2 of their, I think, both starting guards. They also lost 3 starters on defense towards the beginning of the year. I mean, they're riddled with injuries, but with the talent they have on offense, plus Devontae Freeman's out as well, there's a lot of talent there, and they just can't seem to do a lot with it, even though they still have some.
Yeah, I was actually expecting that game to be like a 35-38 type of score.
I thought it'd be a shootout. I mean, with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, why not just force it to him and make the Packers work for it?
He did. The first drive, Julio had I think like 64 yards.
That's not a lot for one drive.
On the first drive?
But then after that, we didn't see a lot of them. Julio, based off that first drive, should have broken 200 yards receiving for how this offense was playing on that first drive.
Yeah, but then they just went away from him. He didn't get another catch, I think, until the third quarter.
Falcons need a lot of work to do going next week.
Fun fact, though, Joe Philbin first start of his head coach. He had the record for the fastest person ever to use both of his challenges in the first minute. I think 87 seconds.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
He threw both his challenge flags and lost both of them in the first 87 seconds.
Good start. Good job. At least they won.
He made fun of it. He's like, that flag really didn't fit in my pocket.
At least he's honest. Panthers at Browns. This was a good game. Browns end up winning 26-20. Panthers' last goal line stand there to get the end zone. I saw the stat where McCaffrey was at 86% rush success in the red zone, and then Cam Newton was 100% for that game. And neither one of them got an attempt on that last drive. And they got shut down, and then the receivers dropped the last 2 balls to end the game, and that was it.
Yeah, but I went back and looked at that game. Cam Newton really did not play that well.
And everyone's been talking about as a sleeper for the MVP candidate for how well he's been playing this year. But
Cam Newton?
Yeah, some people have been talking
Who
about
said that?
There's been people on Twitter that have been saying that Cam Newton's been playing lights out and having a career year this year.
Christian McCaffrey should be a dark horse, not Cam Newton.
McCaffrey's been amazing for fantasy owners and just a monster. He knows how to run the ball, and no one really thought he'd do that well in the NFL. Remember, there was a lot of controversy over that?
I thought he'd be completely fine as a NFL football player. I thought maybe running between the tackles would be a little difficult, but he's proven me wrong.
Yeah, he's proven everyone wrong. Jets versus Bills. I thought the Jets weren't going to score this much. I said last week the Bills were going to win with Allen, and Jets surprised me and put up 27 points, 27-23, and beat the Bills.
Yep. Allen had another 100-yard rushing game.
I think he just had under 100. I think he was 97 because it was 90 plus. I'd have to look. Let me double check. But what did you think of how they played? I mean, did you even watch this game, honestly?
I did not watch that game. I had no interest in either of those two teams. I'm not
101. So, yeah, he was just over 101 and a rushing touchdown. Leading his team.
He leads his team. He's had 300 rushing yards the last 3 weeks. He's broken 100 yards the last 3 weeks.
Why you can't let your quarterback be running like that? You have to get your run game better than that. Let your quarterback run all over like Lamar Jackson. You can't do that.
Well, he's the one thing. The difference between him and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's 6'2", 220, which that's a solid frame, but he's 6'5", 250.
Big man.
He can move. Somebody even said they should consider moving him to tight end because of his athleticism.
He's a quarterback. You got no one else. You got to keep him in there.
Yeah, nobody has a quarterback, but I'm not his biggest fan.
This was a game to watch. Broncos versus the 49ers. You wouldn't hear me say that usually, but the way Greg Kittle played, the second most receiving yards by a tight end in a single game since 1970.
He had all of them in the first half. Didn't have a single one after that.
And even Kyle Shanahan came out and said he wishes he would have gotten I think it was 5 more yards to break the record. He felt sick that he didn't get it to him. But Greg Kittle, is he considered now the best fantasy tight end? I mean, not fantasy, best tight end in the league right now the way he's playing?
No.
He's putting up good numbers. He looks like it.
Kelsey's the best tight end, followed by Zach Ertz, and then Kittle.
We'll see next year.
Based off of this season?
Yeah,
because Kittle did nothing last season.
No, he did. Once Garoppolo came in, that's when he started picking up all his stats and stuff, and he became noticed. Because I remember when I went to my fantasy draft this year, I picked him as my first tight end just based off those 6 games with Garoppolo because it started to take notice.
Yeah, I picked him in the last round of my fantasy draft. Yeah, 12-man.
How nice is that, though? To be able to have.
To also say that I cut him though, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, never mind then. But Broncos look lost. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this team, and Philip Lindsay's a monster, and it's wasting every bit of it.
Yeah, I think they need to go after a QB in this draft.
They need to. They 100% have to trade up to get it. I mean, what else are you going to need? Your defense is perfectly fine. It's younger.
The only thing you can say is you need wide receivers.
You only need one even. I mean, yeah, Cortland Sutton is going to be your number 1. Sanders is going to be your slot. You really just only need one more.
Yeah, but how do you know? Sanders is getting older, and Sanders also just popped his Achilles.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know how he's going to come back from that. So
they also need linemen. They're really old at linemen. They need better linemen. Bengals and Chargers. Chargers win 26-21. Chargers get their first 10-win season since 2009.
I was surprised to hear that stat because I could have sworn the Chargers sometime in the last 5 years have been a 10-win team.
They're just right under. They're always
9-7, always
9-7, and they're always right on the edge of the playoffs. They just can't get over that hump. So this year, I would like I predicted, I would love to see LA versus LA in the Super Bowl, or just at least the Chargers get there because they deserve to be there. And Philip Rivers deserves to get a chance at a ring.
You know, the Chargers have the second best record in the AFC.
Yeah,
behind the Chiefs.
And my buddy texted me early today. Shout out to Matt Otis. He was like, why are the Chargers behind the Steelers in the standings? I was like, the only reason why is because they haven't beat the Chiefs to claim their division. Since the Steelers have charge of their division, the Chargers are then forced in a wild card spot. Which, if you look at a record, it's bullcrap.
Yeah, I think they need to change it to where the division winners guaranteed a playoff spot, and then the 2 wild card teams are in. But then at that point, it should go to record for seeding.
Yeah, I agree. Steelers versus Raiders. I mean, we kind of predicted this. Donnie even said Raiders are going to beat Steelers, and look, it happened. 24-21, Raiders beat the Steelers.
I was surprised to see that. Very shocked.
You know what's a really surprising stat that I saw? Derek Carr has 0 interceptions in 8 straight games
since the bye week.
Yeah. To think that he's not turning the ball over. Granted, I don't know his fumble stat. I don't watch a lot of Raiders games, and their record's only 3-10.
They have nothing
talent-wise on offense. Defenses, they have some talent, but they need a lot more pieces on that defense to make it stable.
Yeah, they need a running back on offense. I mean, Doug Martin's a good stopgap for now. But
and Marshawn Lynch got hurt, so that ruined that for them.
He's
done.
I wouldn't say done, but he's done being a lead back.
Yeah.
I mean, go get a young guy in the draft now for 3rd, 4th, 5th round.
Now, there's a lot of good running. There's a couple of good running backs in this draft.
You can find a young back anywhere, and then you need wide receivers. You have 0 wide receivers.
No, one.
Jordy Nelson passed his prime. Martavis Bryant, the Steelers didn't even want him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't even tell you the 3rd string.
Nobody's. Bigger game this week. This is actually one of the funnest games to watch. Eagles versus Cowboys. I hate watching I hate the Eagles just because their fan base and what they've done when visiting teams come. You see the videos and stuff and how cocky they are after winning the Super Bowl. So watching the Cowboys beat them 29-23 was awesome. And then on top of that, Amari Cooper looks legit. 217 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay. I was not the only one that said the Cowboys were idiotic for trading a first-round pick for him, but man, do they look good for trading a first-round pick.
You're not the only one. And I saw on Twitter today, people are making fun of all the people like, oh, you're stupid for saying the Cowboys are stupid for trading that. I was like, shut your mouth. You were just one of them too, I bet. There's no way anyone thought that was smart to trade for Amari Cooper for a first round. No one in the right mind.
No, I'm sure people did because, don't get me wrong, Amari had the physical tools.
And he's young.
That was the 4th overall pick in his draft. It's just sometimes it's just a change of scenery is all a player needs.
It's incredible. But the change is night and day. I mean, it doesn't look like the same player anymore. It looks like the player we saw in college where he's just dominant. Cowboys, I mean, does one player change the Cowboys offense completely and they look like a legit team now?
Well, they really even haven't had, I can't remember who posted this stat, but they really haven't had that many difference in points. But their yardage per game went up, I think, 30 yards per game. But the biggest thing is their 3rd down conversion percentage went from low 30s to now mid 40s, like a 15-point change. That's huge.
One person. Awesome. I mean, the Cowboys are now, they're almost clinched their division. They're about right there. Eagles pretty much.
They're going to clinch it, I think, with one Eagles loss.
Yeah.
Because they have 8 wins, Eagles have 6.
They're not going to beat the Rams. Let's be real here. Eagles have been a bad team. So I think they're going to get that clinch this week. Lions at Cardinals. This was a freaking snooze fest. Lions, terrible team. I watched them this game. I turned it away. Cardinals can't do anything. They have no wide receivers. Their injuries are piling up.
Suck.
All their offensive line is hurt except for Mason Cole in center. They're all on IR. And then you have Kirk is gone. Their defense is just exhausted.
Their defense plays good football. It just gets tired from being on the field. And I feel bad because Rosen, he has no time to really show what he can do just because no receivers. David Johnson is disappeared for the second straight season because he was injured all of last season. And your offensive line gives you no time to go.
There's nothing you can do with David Johnson either. I mean, you're so predictable at this point because they know you can get down the field.
You line up. If I'm the Cardinals and I'm Byron Leftwich, it's a simple, not super simple, but it's an easy way to get David Johnson more involved and to still have a running game. Put him at wide receiver. Line him up as a slot wide receiver and have Chase Edmonds as your lead back.
Just do it. It's the only thing you have left to do. You might as well just force David Johnson the ball as a receiver.
You don't even have to force him the ball. It just gives you another threat offensively. Keeps the keeps the defense guessing. Take that slot DJ wide receiver, get him a linebacker or a safety matchup, which he should be able to beat as long as he's still David Johnson, and throw him the rock.
Or do a 2-back set where you have where each running back lines either side of the quarterback. One can scout out, one can pass block. You can do a lot with that. I mean,
but they're not good run blockers. They're not good run blockers.
David Johnson's better than most people give him credit for. But
at run blocking, when has he run blocked before?
Not run block. I meant pass block.
Yeah, his pass pro is fine. Chase Edmonds' pass pro is fine.
That's what I meant.
But when you do a two-back set, one of them is essentially the fullback.
No, I meant either side of the quarterback. One on one side, one on the other.
Yeah, and what happens when you give a sweep left?
You don't have to run it. I'm saying you can pass out of that set.
Yeah, I understand that, but you also have to be able to run the football out of that set.
I guess you make Chase Edmonds try to play the fullback and then try to do that sweep play like you said. I mean, you would then have to have Larry Fitzgerald on that side. It would be difficult, but you could make it work. This Cardinals have nothing else to do. They're 3-10. Essentially, somehow they're still not eliminated for the playoffs. But
yeah, I don't know how that is because there's only 3 games left. And
I don't understand it either, these statistics. Next game, we're going to talk about this a little bit. The Rams versus Bears a little bit later. Rams lost 6-15. Both offenses look piss poor.
And we'll leave it at that. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Monday Night Football, also, just as disappointing.
Yep. Offenses also looked absolutely
hurt a lot of fantasy owners. Vikings only put up 7. Seahawks 21. Seahawks win.
Russell Wilson had 76 yards passing.
Yeah. He's not known for putting up under 100. So that was new. Also, here's another stat I saw. Speaking, because everyone's seen the stats for Kirk Cousins, where I think it's 9-27 he is against teams with winning records, something like that.
4-21 or something.
4-21.
4-24. Something horrible.
He's also 0-7 career record on Monday night.
Yep. And he's 3-9 or something like that in primetime games or something like that.
I'm not sure how much blame we could put on him because he still puts up the numbers. As far as
he didn't put up the numbers last night.
How much did he put up? I gotta look now because I'm forgetting off the top of my head. So Kirk Cousins put up 208 yards and a touchdown. That's not horrible numbers. 20 of 33. Those aren't bad stats. Those aren't that bad. But the rest
Watch the game. Don't look at the box.
Oh, I watched some of the game. But the run game wasn't there. They essentially gave up on it.
Didn't run the ball. And that's why it led to
13 attempts for Dalvin Cook. That's it. I mean, if you're on the ball and that's how much you got the whole game, you're going to lose.
Well, he should have gotten fed the ball more because it's not like they were down 21-0 right off to start the bad, and that's why they ran away from it. It was 6-0 until 2/3 of the way through the fourth quarter.
You got to wear down the defense, and the only way to do that is to run the ball. You wear them down, you run some play action, you get the field open, and then the rest is history. You can start scoring from there.
Yeah.
Well, that's week 14 for you guys. I mean, a lot of disappointing games, a lot of snooze fest, but a couple of good ones to brighten up this week.
NFL Live was saying today it was the best Sunday for football this past season, which I would agree.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, not as much points you'd like to see it, but still one of the most viewed games, I think.
No, the Sunday in general was the best Sunday for football all season.
Outside of a couple games.
I agree with that.
Injury report from week 14. Zach Martin, aggravated MCL, I believe it was. Is that correct? So we are still awaiting word on that. Jerry Jones said he doesn't believe it to be very serious, but, we'll see how that turns out. Odell actually showed up at the injury report Friday, did not play the game Sunday. Sterling Shepard was in to fill in for him. Didn't really need him too much with Barkley going off. Big Ben got hurt at the third quarter, I believe.
In the first half.
A lot of controversy over that injury as well. They were saying the X-ray machine wasn't working, so that's why it took so long to get him back on the field.
No. They gave him painkillers.
No, I'm saying I was going to go over that. There's multiple like stories behind this injury, which I thought was weird. One of them was the X-ray machine wasn't working, so they didn't know to get him out there. Painkillers, they're like, oh, we want to give it time to kick in before we get him out there. And just some other stories been going out there too. I'm like, what happened with Big Ben? Was he supposed to be out there? Was he not? There was a lot of controversy about what happened behind the scenes on that.
Gotcha.
So he came back, still lost, didn't do too much. Dobbs' time obviously doesn't look like a great quarterback as of now, but he's got to step up when Big Ben is gone for good.
Big Ben did say he expects to play next week, though.
Yes, he did say that because the Patriots, and they always want to beat the Patriots. Lamar Jackson got hurt on the last drive in overtime. What was the injury, Austin? I forget.
I believe it was an ankle injury.
Ankle injury.
His X-rays were negative, and he looked fine. I was surprised he didn't come back in for that fourth down throw because, like I said, he looked fine coming off the field.
I mean, he could have ran it. I mean, there's so much he could have done, maybe more than RG3 could have. Ryan Tannehill got hurt in that game.
Yeah, he showed a limp after the game, but he should be fine. LaShawn McCoy got hurt. He didn't return to the game. We'll see if he plays next week. He didn't talk to reporters after the game. Jordan Reed, tight end for the Washington Redskins, sprained his foot/toe in the first half and did not return. Don't know if he'll be good to go or not for Sunday. Ezekiel Ansah got hurt and missed a good chunk of the game on Sunday against the Cardinals, and he got put on IR. So his season and career in Detroit is most likely done. Robert Nkemdiche got sent into the IR report today. And Jonnu Smith, he also was suffered an MCL injury.
A lot of injuries, some bigger name ones. Robert Nkemdiche really stands out to me. Just I putting the nail in the coffin for me if I was a Cardinals fan or Steve Keim. Time to move on from him.
You've seen flashes though, man.
But it's not enough to keep him because he's gonna want money. And
he's got a fully guaranteed deal for the rest of this offseason. Well, he's cheap. You let him play his course. If you don't sign him, you don't sign him. But you got to give him at least his final season. I would not give him a 5th-year option.
No, I would be like, sorry, we'll part ways.
That, but he deserves at least to play another season to show what he can do. I believe his first season was really bad injury-wise. And then his second and third seasons, I think the second season he didn't give a crap. And then Wilkes was finally getting some stuff out of him because if you watched some of those Cardinals games, he's looked like a force. But there's also
plays when he takes off.
Well, you don't even know he's on the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's just one of those players that odds are the Cardinals will keep him on the roster. He'll have his best season ever as a pro because it's his contract year, and then he'll disappear after that. A la Nick Perry.
Nick Perry. Big story that just popped out today. The city of Oakland has filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against the Raiders and the NFL for a legal planned move to Vegas.
Yeah, I haven't had much time to read into this, but it looks like that they are saying that the Raiders and the NFL owners colluded to get the Raiders to go to Vegas, just simply because it lines all the owners' pockets with, the relocation fees, and also they think that going to Vegas is the best thing for the NFL and making money. And they said that basically the Raiders leaving are going to leave them $80 million in debt
from renovations.
From renovations and having that stadium that they still have to pay on.
And the Raiders said they won't play in the Coliseum next year if sued.
They shouldn't, because why would I pay them rent if they're going to sue me?
Yeah. There's no point. And plus, the Coliseum's been just a terrible place for the Raiders to play.
They haven't for them to say they've renovated it.
It's a baseball field, for crying out loud. And there's dirt on the field where you should be freaking playing football. That's dangerous to players' health and safety.
Yep. And it's not like this was a collusion. The Raiders tried to stay. They tried to get that vote to go through. And I can't remember if it was the city or if it was like the taxpayers or if it was the
Could be a mixture
the city
of both.
board. No, it was one of the two shot it down and said that they would not be getting their own stadium and they can deal with it. And that's when Mark Davis said, all right, I'm going to Vegas.
Why not? I mean, Vegas is a big market. Gambling's legal there, so you can even double your revenue. It opens another venue also for the NFL to market. I mean, why not? There's enough teams in the California area. Go expand elsewhere and get more market.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has a problem with them going to Vegas. It's just apparently the way that they went to Vegas. We'll see how it plays out if they have a case. I'm sure it'll go to court.
It happened just with the Rams, too, but nothing came of it.
Well, the Rams should have been sued because Kroenke basically said, we're going to L.A. We don't even care what you do. You can bite the bullet.
Well, no, they did try to come to a deal just with the Raiders as well, and they couldn't come up. The city didn't want to pay as much as they were looking for, so they just...
Yeah, for cities to say that, they act like the NFL teams don't bring in revenue with, the teams themselves, because they come in, they stay on basically Fridays, Saturdays, and a good chunk of Sundays. Then they're going to be eating, they're going to be staying in hotels.
Yeah, merchandise sales.
Yeah. And you act like every week you don't get fans that come in from out of state to go look at that stadium, and any
tourism.
Well, any restaurants buy stadiums,
yep,
they get slammed. It's huge for local business growth right around the stadiums. It keeps things flourish, like Westgate here in Arizona. The Cardinal Stadium keeps that afloat for the most part because of concerts and then also the Cardinal games. I mean, it's just bite the bullet. I mean, you get your taxpayers to pay. It's not like they really feel that tax.
No, definitely not.
I don't know. I feel like they're being
a little petty
about it, yeah.
So let's break it down to the biggest game of this last week. A lot of disappointment offense. We said we were going to talk about this earlier. The Rams go to the Bears' house, and they get the smackdown, it looks like.
Oh, they got humiliated.
Completely humiliated. I wrote an article, if you guys have seen it. I posted at Burkhart Skyler on Twitter. I also posted on Facebook as well, but I pointed out there's a lot of flaws with this Rams offense. Their defense played great. Like I said in this podcast a couple weeks ago, give us Talib back, this defense will be perfectly fine. And they played great with Talib, surprisingly enough. The only problem was
anything special.
Yeah, the offense was anything special, but they didn't get a pass rush. That was the only downside of this game. But taking it back to the Rams offense, they looked lost. There was no motion of wide receivers. They gave up on running the ball. Goff
couldn't hit the side of a barn.
No, he was missing wide open receivers. He was making dumb mistakes. He held onto the ball too long. And we just got killed by the blitz. I mean, our offensive line couldn't block for it. The blocking scheme, I think, was also another issue for the game planning. Khalil Mack and the front four just tore us apart.
Yeah, that Chicago defense is the best defense in football.
Hands down. I mean, but how many times do we say that? Every couple of years, this Bears defense is the best defense in the NFL. And we saw that fantasy a couple of years back with Urlacher and Briggs, and they put up like the most fantasy points that defense ever put up. And they look like the monsters of Midway, Steel Curtain, like great defense. And they keep every so many years, they go back and do that. They know how to draft their defense. And we're seeing it again this year.
Well, I mean, they also got gifted Khalil Mack.
They got freaking like golden plate with some whipped cream and a cherry on top, just free. Like, here you go.
Oh, and that whipped cream and cherry are made of gold, too.
Yeah, made of gold. Just hand it to him. I mean, can't find a pass rusher, but can sure hand it to someone else on a golden platter.
So are these Bears, like, legit contenders for not only, like, the NFC, they basically clinched the NFC North. Outside of, I think, the Vikings have a chance still to beat them out if they lose out, but they basically clinched the NFC North. They are going to potentially have a chance at a first-round bye should the Saints or the Rams collapse. Is it time to talk about this Bears team and that defense making a run kind of like Jacksonville did last year?
I think the talks have already started the last couple of weeks even. Yeah. I even saw a flash of it in the first 5 weeks of the season, and I don't know, man. I mean, this offense is really inconsistent. Defense plays great, and defense can win you football games. But the way they played last night, you're going against a better, more prepared offense than the Rams were. They're not going to win a game. The defense can be as good as they want, but if your offense doesn't score points, it ain't going to matter.
I think their offense didn't score points, though, because of how good that defense was.
It took a while. I mean, granted, he threw 3 interceptions, I believe Trubisky did. You can't do that when your defense can be good field position and playing as good as they are.
I agree with you on that statement. And if they were to lose, it'd be because of Trubisky and his inexperience. He missed time this year. He's a second-year starter.
He was overthrowing receivers. So, like, not like ahead of them, like if they're on a route. I mean, like, over their head.
I know. And so was Goff. Trying to act like Goff didn't do that.
But we're talking about the Bears now. We'll get to the Rams in a second. But you saw some clear plays where that wide receiver is wide open. He gets that, boom, first down, little hit drop, whatever it was. And throws it right to Peters and throws it to Johnson. I mean, You can't do that as an offense. And especially, he's a young quarterback. He's second year.
Yeah.
But you can't make those mistakes. You got to be accurate on those throws.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Blake Bortles can go to a championship game and nearly go to the Super Bowl, so can Trubisky. So I think that Rams team is going to make, that Bears team could make a lot of noise in the postseason. I think their biggest threat would be New Orleans.
Can you even say that, though? Granted, how they've been playing. I mean, they played against good defense in Dallas, and Dallas beat them. So a better defense than the Bears?
Drew Brees. I would take Drew Brees. I mean, Dallas is also a good candidate to beat them. Run the football.
Exactly.
No turnovers. Solid defense as well. I mean,
playoffs are going to be good this year. They're going to be good.
Yeah,
if you get the Bears, the Rams, the Saints, and even Dallas. I hate to say that. It's like just dirt in my mouth saying that. It's horrible to say that because they didn't look that good at the beginning of the season. But their defense put together, their offense is playing good. They run the ball efficiently. Dak is playing good with Amari Cooper. They look like a legit team. So with those 4 teams in the playoffs, this is going to be a good year to watch football.
Yeah. I think it would be one of the better years for football playoffs. But what happened with your Rams, Skyler?
In my article that I stated, it looked like McVay just got really stubborn, in my opinion, and decided he was going to force Goff down people's throats. And he was going to show how good his passing offense was against this really stout Bears defense against the pass. Mm-hmm. And it backfired on him. Goff made a lot of crucial mistakes, having to force the ball down the field. Granted, one of the interceptions, he did get his ankle rolled as right before he threw it, with Andrew Whitworth getting pushed back into him. Outside of that, he made bad throws. But he was getting relentlessly pass rushed. The pass protection was not there, whatever the scheme they were running. They weren't running the same offense. There was no motion of wide receivers to confuse the linebackers.
They weren't running the fake jet sweeps?
Yes, they weren't doing that. And you need to do that to make the linebackers move. And I said this at halftime. Your adjustments going into the half are to utilize your tight ends and make those linebackers in the middle move and run the ball. They were not down by a lot at halftime. It was a 3-6 or 6-9 game at half. 3-6. You could easily come back and win the game. Reestablish yourself, get Gurley running down their throats, and then play. And then you could set up your play action from there. He was running play action with no run game. The Bears laughed at him. They ran a 4-down set, and they said, run the ball. And he's like, no, I'm just going to pass it. They already had everyone back as far as they could for pass coverage. Khalil Mack just sat there and just didn't have to do anything. He just sat there and was like, puny human. I mean, they just didn't stick to the roots. Gurley is your offense. Use him.
Yeah, I've said it multiple times, and I believe I've said it on this podcast. That offense runs through Gurley. If Gurley doesn't get going one way or the other, that offense does not get going.
Rarely does it work if you don't get Gurley running, get him running, because you can use him in the pass. But because the Bears defense is so attacking and very conservative with their pass protection, they can guard Gurley. And we saw it many times that Gurley would go on the flat, and it was Khalil Mack. There was another linebacker just on his ass to make sure that he was covered. Mm-hmm. So there's no one else to throw the ball. Bears defense played great, and the Rams just didn't come prepared.
I think this is a sign to see what the future holds for the Los Angeles Rams.
It is a game to take a lot of note on, and McVay really needs to take this game to heart. He needs to study this game. He needs to not be stubborn. He needs to go back to running the ball and getting his play action set up, which will then allow him to run his fakes. He needs to move linebackers, and he knows that. And I don't know why he strayed away from it this game, because McVay's the smartest
He's the best offensive coach in the NFL. Don't even try to.
You could argue with Andy Reid is my other point.
No.
But you have to move the linebackers. The middle of the field is your golden opportunity. That's where a lot of big plays go. You've seen Odell do a slant across the middle and take it all the way to the house. You've seen Julio Jones do it as well. You have Brandon Cooks, one of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. Slant right across the middle after you get a mismatch to make those.
Tyreek Hill do it every week.
Yeah, you got to make the linebackers move to open up that little short pass across the middle, or even like a little slant, hooks, curls, whatever it is, and get some big chunk yards. Granted, there was some plays by Josh Reynolds, which I cannot stand him because he makes so many crucial drops. There was that first down it was on third down. Could have the first down. He was inbounds, and he just dropped it on the sideline. Could have kept the drive alive. They were running good that drive. They were getting some momentum, and it's ended it for him. And then Everett is still young, and he made some crucial drops as well. This is not a team that has a momentum behind them right now.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot positive to go off this besides how their defense played. I mean, 3 interceptions. Peters had an interception, his 4th or 3rd one of the year. Josh Johnson had one. I think Ricky Coleman was the other one. They played good. Their defense played really good.
Your defense held the Bears to 15 points. You should have won that game.
Should have won that game, but our offense couldn't put points on the board.
Your offense put up 6. That's pitiful.
Pitiful. Just atrocious.
Technically, your defense only gave up 13 because you gave up a safety.
And that was Goff. Again, Goff held on the ball too long. He should have got rid of that. I screamed at the TV and said, get rid of it. I'm in a bar, public air. I was screaming, get rid of the ball. And as soon as 4 seconds have gone by, boom, he's down. He got thrown that ball out of bounds and just said, screw it. And it'd been fine. Live another day. Run the ball up the middle. Who cares? You're back to your goal line. Run the ball forward to at least get a yard or two, then punt it and be done with it.
Instead, Skyler said, I'll take another beer, please.
Yes.
So the Monday night game led to a couple of
changes.
One big change. And that leads us into our next topic. John DeFilippo, however it's pronounced.
I think it's Filippo.
Was fired after the Monday night performance against the Seattle Seahawks.
Matt Miller even came out and said that he was not having him and he was way overhyped to be a head coaching candidate. And I kind of agree with him. He has some tendencies, and I think a lot of defense picked up on it, and his offense got really predictable.
Well, he went from QB coach, granted he did wonders with Nick Foles, to then offensive coordinator and calling the plays, which he didn't call the plays in Philadelphia. And he basically has abandoned the run game in most of the Minnesota Vikings losses. Yep. And granted, Dalvin Cook has been out for a good chunk of the season, but Latavius Murray has picked up that slack very well.
He looks great. Just run the ball with him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not run the football with an average QB. I think Kirk Cousins is average. I'm just going to say it. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that is in that conversation.
I think he's above average just because he puts up the over 200 yards and at least a touchdown minimum per game, which is above average.
But that's just it. He just fills the stat sheets. You don't know if you can't look at the stat sheets to determine if a quarterback is good or not. For all you know, that QB could have been down by 30 points. Again, then in the last quarter of the game when nobody's giving a care about the game, he then throws for 200 yards and a touchdown.
But here's the issue that I like to argue with Kirk Cousins. There hasn't been a run game for whatever teams he's been with. There hasn't. And
you can't tell me that Dalvin Cook, who was averaging, I think, 6 yards a carry, going like 2 or 3 weeks against the Patriots, he was averaging over 6 yards a carry.
And he played great for those games. But without a run game, Kirk Cousins is average. And he needs to step up when the team's having to put so much on his back. But also, if there's no run game, it's kind of hard for him to really work, it seems like.
He's got 2 top 15 wide receivers in the NFL.
But if the scheme...
He has no excuse.
And you could also argue on the other end, because I agree, there should be no excuse at that point. But we've seen issues where Thielen's having issues with Cousins. The play calling is very obvious what they're doing, so they're able to double, cover a receiver. And Diggs was hurt for a couple of games. There's a couple different factors that play into it. And I don't want to give up on Kirk Cousins just yet saying that he's above average. I want to get this Vikings offense on a new offense, get the run game going, and see what Cousins can do.
Well, I don't think a new offense is going to really do that much for that team at this point. But back to the DeFilippo part of it, I think it's safe to say that offense last year under Pat Shurmur, who is a head coach this season, looked way better.
100 times better
than DeFilippo's offense. Granted, do I think DeFilippo could easily become an NFL head coach if he were to just refine his play calling? Because I don't think his plays are bad. I just think his play calling is atrocious. Mm-hmm. If he could just refine that, get onto another team, have a good offensive season, he could probably become a head coach just because of the hype that was around him.
From what I've seen, he has a very low chance of becoming an offensive coordinator again. He might become an assistant or a quarterback's coach at this point just because of his resume this year, is what I've seen.
Right, but he may like just like with the Eagles, he may just fill up a staff to finish out the season, but then when a new head coach comes on, he may get plucked to be an offensive coordinator again.
Yeah, he may. Or
he should be.
Should be, but...
If Mike McCoy can get 3 chances in a year, he can get a second chance.
You know what I think would be a good place? Be the Jets. It'd be a good place for him to go.
Arizona would be a good place for him.
If he gets more weapons, it would be. I don't think he could do a lot with Arizona.
I think
has.
you're going to see Arizona put up a lot of weapons around that team.
But he doesn't use his running backs as pass catchers, and David Johnson's known for that. So that's why.
But Byron Leftwich hasn't really done much either for that team. But, I mean, you really can't judge anybody with that offense just with how decimated it is. But
so many injuries.
Going into our next segment, we've now seen, I think it is 8 either offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, or head coaches fired at this point, or GM with Reggie McKenzie. Reggie McKenzie was also fired, for those who did not know. He was given the option to stay on for the rest of the season. He chose to leave and proceed greener pastures, to put it nicely. So we've started to see a new trend in the NFL, which we usually saw this trend as, quote-unquote, was Black Monday in the NFL, which was the Sunday after all the games.
That was always...
the Monday after all the games is when everybody got the axe. Now we're seeing teams firing their head coaches or their coordinators and saying they're getting a jump on the process. Do you think this is a good trend to have going forward for the NFL?
I don't think it is. You just got to stick with it. You hired the guy. You got to stick through him the whole season. If you have an issue with him, you can start the process, just be like, hey, we're probably, depending on how you finish out this year, we're not going to keep you. And then you can start your coaching process for that search. Otherwise, you got to stick with him. You paid him. It's kind of crazy. We're just firing people after a couple games. Like, I just hired you, but you're going to go in 4 games because your offense didn't work out. You start shooting them everywhere. Sometimes it takes these coaches a little bit to get to know their players that they just got to the team.
Yeah, I know you're referring to Mike McCoy with that 4
No, the 4 game. But Mike McCoy is atrocious. They should have known before hiring him.
Yeah. My thing is a lot of the people have made huge stink about firing Reggie McKenzie now because of what he's done for Oakland, firing Mike McCarthy for what he's done for the Packers. Why is it because of what they've done? They deserve to finish out the year.
Because everyone has a good personality where they're like, well, he did so good for us in the past. Paid. But some people just think it's a bad way of leaving. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth for the franchise.
But then how come these same people don't get on NFL teams for doing this to NFL players? What about the Lions for trading away Golden Tate at the trade deadline?
I mean, there was some controversy about that, and people were upset. But I mean, it's just business. That's how
nowhere near the backlash that we've seen.
Exactly,
which is getting fired.
And I totally agree with that. But players, movable pieces, faces of the franchise, as far as like the coaches, the ones that are in charge and take the blame for it, I guess is just more. It's like, hey, you're changing everything up because now the offense, there's more like fallback from it, I guess.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is I don't believe in saying we want to get a jump on our search early because that's a crock of bull.
You got too much other things to worry about.
You can't interview anybody until after the season. So why do you need to get a jump on the search?
Can you? I thought it's only you can interview people that don't have a job. I thought.
Yeah, but why am I going to interview somebody who doesn't have a job 3/4 of the way through an NFL season?
Bruce Arians.
He's not interviewing. He's retired.
He said he would come back for the Browns. That'd be it.
I'd be shocked if he did.
Hey, he said he'd come on the podcast so we can ask him when we get him on.
Well, that's just I'm a man of it's about what you are doing, not what you have done.
And I agree. What's past is past. It's time. What are you doing for me now?
Yeah, and then like Mike McCarthy deserved to be fired.
Yeah.
John DeFilippo deserved to be fired.
That was a Vikings team that was supposed to be
fired.
First in the division, fighting for a playoff spot. Right now, they're skidding by.
No. That was a team that was supposed to be first in the NFC.
Yes.
Super Bowl contender. That was the team that went to the NFC Championship game as the huge favorite over the Eagles, lost, and then did nothing but add Sheldon Richardson, added George Iloka, added Kirk Cousins, and lost nobody.
They were primed to go back and take another shot at the Super Bowl. Right now, they look just as bad as the Packers, where they're just struggling, and changes need to be made.
Well, let's be honest. They may be as bad as the Packers, but the Packers look better than them this past week.
This past week, yeah, definitely.
That's all I'm talking about.
Their offense was non-existent.
Yeah.
So going off of that, we're going to talk really about the playoff picture and what do we see some of the sneaky contenders. Is anyone going to fall out? How is this really going to piece together at the end of the year here going into week 15?
So I think because right now we have the NFC, which is the Saints, Rams, Bears, Cowboys as the 1 through 4. And then you have the Seahawks and the Vikings at 5 and 6. I definitely think the Seahawks,
Vikings are at 6 and 1, and Seahawks are at 8 and 5.
Yeah, the Seahawks are most likely going to clinch a playoff berth. I think the Seahawks are the sneaky team for the NFC because I think they're very familiar with the Rams to where if they had to go into LA to play.
Oh, I'm worried as hell. I've said this before.
Yeah.
They almost beat us twice, and it took to the fourth quarter for us to beat them both times. I am worried that they're going to get hot at the right time, and they're going to catch us sleeping, and we're going to lose and get an early exit.
It could happen. So, like I said, I think they're the sneaky team. They have a pass rush, they have a defense, and they have a quarterback who somehow, some way, always finds a way to at least try to win the game in the fourth quarter.
Here's another sneaky team that we aren't really talking about is the I just lost them. Where the heck I'm losing my mind here. The Giants. They're 5 and 8. Technically, they could still make the playoffs.
They would need multiple teams to lose out.
Yep, they would need Eagles. I think Redskins are going to lose out. They need the Eagles to lose out, the Vikings, and the Panthers to lose out, which are all obtainable because the Saints. Did they already play the Panthers once, or they still got to play them twice? I believe
they play the Saints twice, but the biggest thing is having to Minnesota to lose 2 games essentially.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think it will happen, but you also need Green Bay to lose.
Well, Green Bay essentially is eliminated, aren't they?
No, we're above the Giants. We are right below Philly.
Oh, yeah, because the new playoff, everyone's still in, apparently. But
we are sitting at number 10 behind Carolina, Washington, and Philly.
So there's a lot of factors that need to go. But if Giants get in there, Barkley's been an animal. As long as Eli plays well, they're a sneaky team.
Yeah, I think they could be sneaky. I just don't see them getting in.
Yeah, it's one of those.
They just need too much help.
A lot of help.
Multiple teams, whereas the Packers are my team that I think are going to replace the Vikings because they just need the Vikings to lose twice and everybody else above them lose once.
Yep.
And the Eagles and the Panthers are probably going to lose this week.
The Panthers are a team that can be sneaky as well with as long as Cam Newton's playing well, defense plays consistent, and McCaffrey gets off to beast mode like we've been saying.
I just don't see them getting in, dude.
I know. They played so well, and they're just falling off.
They play the Saints 2 the last 3 weeks.
They have to beat them both. They have to beat them both times to even get a chance to
They have to win out to make the playoffs. And I don't see it happening. I think that the Saints are going to basically, a lot of people think, in week 17 you have a chance. I don't think so. The Saints are going to play to try to knock them out.
They might tie the series 1-1, but that's not good enough for the Panthers. You have to beat them both.
Yeah.
Going to the AFC, Patriots 9 and 4. The first sneaky team I see is the Dolphins. They can still make it.
No, dude, sneaky team, Baltimore.
No. Sneakier. Cleveland. There you go.
Cleveland. I would not want to see Cleveland.
No. Baker Mayfield has been playing outstanding, and their defense is good, and Nick Chubb's a monster. That's a threat in any of these AFC teams. The NFC would be the only problem they'd have to face, but going against AFC teams, I'm not worried unless you go into the Chargers, really. The Chiefs aren't going to stop Chubb. But
the Chiefs can put up points with them.
Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Mahomes, that'd be a game.
Oh, that'd be so great. I would love to watch that. We already saw that this season.
Oh, but round 2 in the playoffs?
With Nick Chubb at running back, because I think they had Carlos Hyde the last time they played.
Feed Chubb.
I love Chubbs.
But, so, essentially, I don't think Broncos have a chance. They're done. Oakland's 0-4 in their division. They're 3-10 as well. Jacksonville's out. Tennessee's terrible. Colts are a sneakier team.
Colts are sneaky, yes.
They beat the Texans this last week, so they could actually jump ahead and force Texans to get the wild card, or the Texans could actually lose the wild card spot.
Anything could happen. It's any given Sunday for playoffs. And this time of the year is when you see crazy things happen.
And the craziest thing would be seeing the Browns jump ahead of the Steelers and Ravens to get that spot. I just can't get over that.
I don't think that will happen. I think if they get in, they'll be in the wild card.
I would love to see rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs this year. So you would have Cleveland or Baltimore. You would see, because I don't think they put Joe Flacco as much as
I think they, like Richie Bradshaw was saying, you have to ride Lamar Jackson.
You ride him until it don't work no more, and it's going to keep working. But so that'd be Lamar Jackson. You could have essentially you could have both of them. You could have Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, other rookies. None in the AFC. Well, Patrick Mahomes essentially is a rookie because his first year starting.
You have Sam Darnold. He's not going to make the playoffs.
Nope.
And then the NFC, you have.
That's pretty much it.
No, there's one more in the Josh Rosen. Oh, you have Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's not going, and neither is Josh Rosen.
No, both the Joshes are not going.
No, they are done.
Their teams don't have it in them. I mean, this is going to be a really crazy playoff. I mean, the NFC is pretty much locked up, but the AFC is wide open. AFC is wide open.
They're both wide open, dude. What are you?
Because the Chiefs and Chargers both are essentially going to get in, so they're guaranteed. Colts and Texans, we don't know who's going to get into that, and even we can say the Titans can get in. Browns, Ravens, Steelers could all still get in. We have Dolphins and Patriots that can get in.
So you have many teams competing for that sixth wildcard spot essentially, because the Chargers are going to be the ones that are going to take seed number 5. They're not going to get caught up. But like you were saying, you have the Dolphins, you have the Colts, you have the Browns, you have the Ravens.
But some of these teams could jump ahead and get the 3rd, the 4th seed.
But then the team that was in 3rd or 4th will drop down to 6th.
Yeah, but it's still.
That's what I'm trying to say to you.
But going to the NFC.
That's a super tight race right there in the NFC.
But it's not as tight as the NFC. You need a lot of help for a lot of these teams in the NFC. That's what I'm saying. The AFC.
There's like 5 teams within a game and a half of the playoffs, right?
I understand that. I'm just saying the AFC is more wide open.
You were just saying the AFC is done.
No, NFC is basically done because you have your
NFC is not even done either.
You have your locked teams of the Bears, the Cowboys essentially locked. The Chiefs are I'm going the wrong way now. The Rams,
the Bears are locked, the Rams are locked, and the Saints are locked. Yes, I understand that.
But the AFC, there's no one locked.
5 and 6, the Chiefs have clinched a playoff spot.
But the rest is wide open. There's only one confirmed spot compared to 3. The AFC can have so much change in it. The NFC...
We all know the AFC and the IFC's divisions, most likely for the most part, are not going to change. But the wild card is where they're going to change. Both of them have like 5 teams. Usually right now it's down to 3 teams for the final 2 spots.
Agreed.
And now you have 5 teams for 1 spot in both conferences. When's the last time you heard that 30 out of the 32 teams were mathematically still alive in week 15?
I've never heard of that. Because mostly there's more bad teams in this that are knocked out, but this is any man's NFL right now with how the freaking passing's been going.
Well, and because the way that the records are skewed, you would think 8-7-1 for the Vikings or for the Packers would not be a 6 seed wild card team in the NFC.
No, you'd think you'd have your division locked.
10 wins. 10 wins should get you into the playoffs, not 8.5. I don't know. We'll update everybody with the way that the playoff standings change come next week, but it's definitely going to be something to watch the next couple of weeks to see how that 5th and 6th seed really changes, and in the NFC's case, how that 1st seed changes. Because you have the Saints and the Rams that are tied, but the Saints have the tiebreaker, so it'll be interesting to see.
And the Bears could still take it, too.
Yeah, but they need a lot of help. I don't see New Orleans losing to Carolina.
We've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah. So I think all we have left is the fantasy football portion, which...
We got Week 15 predictions.
Oh, Week 15 predict. That's right. All right, boys.
We got to predict who's going to win.
We're going to speed run this. We're going to go through. No analysis. Just pick the winner.
Fine. I'll pick the winner. Week 15 pulling up right now. First game, Thursday night game. Oh, my God.
That's a great game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Kansas City.
We're actually having Saturday night games, too.
Yep, we do have Saturday. I don't know the reasoning why, but we do have 2 Saturday night games this week.
So, Thursday, Chargers versus Chiefs.
Chiefs. Who you got?
Chargers.
All right.
I think Chargers get their win. Texans and Jets.
Texans, that's easy.
Texans. Browns and Broncos.
Browns, that was also easy.
Titans and Giants.
Give me the Giants.
Giants. I'll take it as well. Dolphins, Vikings.
Dolphins, Vikings. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Man, this is rough because I love watching the Vikings with Thielen, and I also watch the Dolphins when they run their offense well.
6-day work week to get a new offense going. I take the Dolphins.
I take the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings. I think they get it figured out. Redskins and Jaguars. Can we pick a tie? Can we just say the game didn't exist?
Can that game just not happen?
I mean, depending on Josh Johnson does, Redskins can win this because Jaguars are terrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Redskins. I think Jags.
I'll take the Jaguars defense. Give me Jaguars.
I'll give Redskins. Cowboys at Colts. This is a very good game, in my opinion.
That will be a good game, but I don't see the Cowboys losing that game. Give me the Cowboys.
I'm going to take Cowboys, too. I mean, the Colts defense is not good enough to stop the Cowboys offense right now.
And I believe if the Cowboys win, they clinched the NFC East.
As long as Eagles lose, I'm not sure.
I don't think they need a loss because they own the tiebreaker.
Raiders at Bengals.
Give me the Bengals. Actually, no. Give me the Raiders.
I was like, give me the Raiders on that one. I think Derek Carr's going to have a good game against the poorest defense of the Bengals. Big game. Sunday. I wish it was a later game, like an afternoon, but Packers at Bears.
I'm be a homer. Give me Green Bay.
Bears.
Aaron Rodgers can beat him on one leg. He can beat him on two.
I think he's going to lose both legs.
You can get out that door.
I think Bears win. I think it's a closer game. I think they win by somewhere between 7 and 10 points. The Bears do.
I think it'll be a close game. You think it'll be high scoring, though?
I don't think it's going to be. I think they keep it relatively low. I think somewhere in the 20s.
Okay. I respect that.
Lions at Bills. Give me the Bills.
I'll take the Bills, too. Lions are some doo-doo.
Stafford is doo-doo. He needs to figure it out.
He's horrible.
Buccaneers or Ravens? Give me the Ravens.
Buccaneers give me the Ravens.
Ravens Lamar Jackson's gonna have a big day, I think, passing wise. Cardinals at Falcons.
Falcons.
I mean, Falcons are bad. There's so much bad on both of them. Give me the Falcons. I think Matt Ryan just has to play well, and he needs to force it to Julio to really win this game. Seahawks at 49ers, another divisional game.
Seahawks.
Give me the Niners in an upset. Oh, that's my upset of the week. I think the Niners beat the Seahawks. I think they catch them sleeping, and that helps out that on the wild card spot for a couple other teams.
That's an interesting pick.
Kittle goes off again. I think he goes for over 100 is my other prediction for that. Patriots at Steelers. So it's in Heinz Field.
And that's Sunday night, correct?
Sunday afternoon. It's a 2:25. The Sunday night game goes to the Eagles at Rams, remember?
Oh, that Patriots Steelers should have been Sunday night. Give me the Patriots. As much as I would love to pick Pittsburgh, I can't after that performance against Oakland.
Oh, I think Patriots win it too. Eagles at Rams in the Coliseum on Sunday Night Football.
Rams.
I mean, the Eagles look terrible all year, and the Rams got a bitter taste in their mouth from losing last year. So look for Carson Wentz to be watching his knees a little more carefully with Ndamukong Suh coming at him. So I think the Rams win by over 2 touchdowns. They rebound from that porous performance last Sunday. And then Monday Night Football, divisional matchup, playoff hopes on the line. Saints at the Panthers.
Saints.
Give me the Panthers. I say this because Saints offense has been very inconsistent. Panthers know how to play against the Saints. And I think Christian McCaffrey is going to show up.
I just don't see them moving the ball.
I think with McCaffrey at the helm, he can move the ball. So that's going to be our predictions for that. A lot of good games. I mean, Saints at Panthers, Eagles, Rams, Patriots, Steelers, Bears, Packers, Colts, and Cowboys. And then you also have Browns and Broncos, underrated game. Then Chargers at Chiefs as well. There's a lot of good games. This might be one of the best weekends for football, in my opinion. This is pretty good matchups.
I'd agree.
So, speaking of those games, what players within those games are going to be someone you're going to look for fantasy playoff hopes?
So, you might start or sit or
Who's
sit?
your start?
My start? Ooh, that's a tough one because you got a lot of good matchups. I would say start would be Josh Adams on Philly.
Really?
Going into the race, yeah.
They've been playing a lot better with Tilly back and their defense is solidified. I mean, Jordan Howard.
Secondary has. Jordan Howard was getting chunk plays on you guys.
He wasn't getting a lot of chunk plays. Cohen was. 5 to 8 was getting a bunch of yardage.
Give me Josh Adams.
I think an underrated start here is going to be it's going to be Chris Thompson versus Jacksonville. I just want to put up my sleeper because I saw that. So this is me. My sleeper is Chris Thompson versus Jacksonville. He's going to get a lot of PPR points. Jacksonville's been hit or miss in their defense. My start, though, if Connor doesn't play, you got to start Samuels against New England. That's going to be a really good matchup. That's going to be my start. As far as tell me your sit. I'll look. I got another start we need to find. So tell me a sit that you want.
Oh, my sit would be. I just had his name in my head. I would probably sit. God, why can't I think of his name?
Fournette. Would you sit Fournette?
No, sorry. Okay, yeah, I got it now. Sit Derrick Henry.
I hope everyone sits Derrick Henry.
Don't
not
believe the hype.
No, that was one night wonder. I'm going to say sit Cam Newton against New Orleans. I would sit Cam Newton. I don't trust it. Saints been playing good defense. I think they're going to have to run the ball a lot this game to really get anything going. Another start, I think Dalvin Cook has to be a start this week. If they're switching offensive coordinators.
If they run the ball, he'll be an animal.
Yeah. I mean, Miami, don't get me wrong, they have a decent defense, but new coordinator, usually they play it safe and they run the ball. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be upside for Cook. So that's going to be another start for me. Another sit. I want to say Philip Lindsay versus Cleveland because Cleveland has a good defense. I'm going to put Philip Lindsay on my sit for this one. Very conservative. Sleeper.
That's an interesting sleeper there, Skyler, because he's been red hot.
No, that's going to be my sit for Lindsay. I'm trying to think of a sleeper. If you got one, let me know.
Sleeper, David Johnson.
Joe Mixon against Oakland. That's going to be interesting.
He'd be a start, though. He's been playing good ball.
Let me look. I don't think he's been... He's been really off. So against New Orleans, 10 points. Baltimore, 14. He had a touchdown, but he only had 14 yards rushing. Then against Cleveland, he had 89 rushing yards, 82 against Denver. He had a big game against the Clippers, the Chargers. So I think he's a sleeper because.
Well, don't be messing with people, man, because this is their playoffs.
I'd say sit Fournette. That'd be another thing. I'm thinking now. I'm looking at fancy. Fournette put up a stinker this on what was it, Thursday Night Football? Mm-hmm. That was a stinker, and he's going to continue to do that, especially against Washington, their tough run defense. Mixon's going to be a sleeper. He's going to be either hit or miss for how they use him. Oakland surprisingly is in the middle of the pack for their defense, so it's just really on game flow because they don't have a quarterback. So they know they're going to run the ball. It just matters of how is Oakland going to stop Mixon. So that's why I put him as sleeper. I wouldn't say start him because I'm a little iffy on him. I'm going to throw another starter. I'm going to say Jared Cook. He's been on a tear lately. Yes, and he's also going against Cincinnati on the flip side. So start him. He's number 5 in ESPN PPR leagues. Last 2 games, 21 last week and 26 the week before, and then 11 and 12 the weeks before. Start him. You need it in your fantasy right now if you're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, don't forget with this fantasy playoffs starting up, feel free to let us know at the Pile On to Pile On podcast how your fantasy teams have done this past season.
Yeah, let us know so we can either make fun of you if you did make it, or if you didn't make it, try to help you out, maybe give you some advice. So maybe you can win.
Or if you're like Skyler, we just make fun of him, period.
Yeah, I'm going to grab myself to sleep.
We know you love us.
Well, no, thank you guys for listening to Pile On podcast. We got our last segment coming up here, which we do. We need to start doing every week. We forgot it once, but if you want to subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, you can follow us on Instagram, the Pile On the PGP podcast, Facebook. You can find us on there. Send questions, concerns, comments, advice, anything like that, to the PGP podcast at gmail.com. You can catch me on Twitter at Burkhart Skyler, and Austin, you can find him on Facebook, and our new full-on member of the Pipeline Pod podcast joining us with Donnie and Richie as well. Thank you guys for listening, and we're going to jump into our minute. Austin, why don't you tell them what it is, since now you're full-time, why not help us out here?
There was a time after a Monday Night Football game where late Denny Green, went on a nice rant saying they are who we thought they were. And basically, now we take a minute of our the final minute of our podcast to go about a minute of anything. And that could be football related, or it could be sports. In general, it could be a different sport, it could be at home. Anything that one of the guys wants to talk about and rant for a minute, it's their minute to do so. Skyler, you got the minute this week, so let's hear what you're going to be talking about.
Get my timer ready. This rant is brought to you by Statement Games, where you make the statement and they pay you for the games. We'll actually be doing the Rams versus Eagles game this weekend, so be looking out for that. I'll be posting that here soon. And just join. Share with your friends. Austin does it as well. It's fun to do. A little competitive. And you get a little prize at the end. There's no credit card information needed. It's all for fun. And to kind of rub it in your friend's face. Because I beat you a couple times. I like kind of shove it in there a little bit, right?
You haven't beaten me once. Stop lying.
No, I did. I beat you the first time you came in because I got first place.
No.
I won the cigar. I won the cigar, remember?
It wasn't in that one. It was the Rams-Packers that was the first one. And I was number 2. You were number 3. So... Yeah, you remember that now, don't you?
Well, you can see we rub each other's face. Anyway, so join. But minute is on the clock. Let's get the minute going.
Go.
So, my biggest concern is the Rams and Bears game. I was screaming at the bar just how McVay was so ignorant in his play calling. Why were you not running your receivers back and forth to get motion to move the linebackers? Why was there no tight ends? Right in the middle of the field. Make Khalil Mack move. He's coming after your quarterback. Get him away. Make sure he stays back in pass coverage and drag him to the side of the field away to keep Jared Goff on his feet. The offensive line played like crap. Why? Why were we not prepared for this game? You had plenty of weeks to know the Bears were coming, and they had the number 1 defense, and we played like we didn't know what we were doing. Our defense played solid, but our offense just crap. Brandon Cooks needed over 100 yards receiving. He should have dominated. The Bears allowed the second most receptions to outside wide receivers, and we just played like crap. Sean McVay, get your head out of your ass. Please, for the love of God, run your offense. Run the ball with Gurley. Give the man the ball. End of it.
Jeez, Skyler.
It's true. He's so ignorant. Run the ball. What was it, 13 to 15, I think? Somewhere there with the rushing attempts. You need to run the ball.
As he threw what he was playing with in his hand across the room for those who could not hear.
Yeah. It was just some big smash. But
like this.
Yeah.
Smash. There's the podcast.
And it's gone. But thank you guys for joining us on the Pylon to Pylon podcast with our new co-host, Austin Ferzoko. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. We would love to have it. We want to expand and be in your home and for the holidays as well. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, all you out there. We're going to start posting some more holiday themed stuff just to kind of liven your day. So be on the lookout for that. As always, this is your host, Skyler Burkhart.
And your new host, Austin Ferzoko.
Have a great holidays, everyone.